Hello and welcome to the Twisted Pint Tavern. We all know the RPG horror stories about that guy or the uncompromising problem player, but as it turns out, problem players can sometimes be reasoned with. Here's a handful of stories from Reddit when the DM set the problem player straight. What is your would have been an RPG horror story, but the player or DM was actually cool experience? I remember the first campaign I put together, we had a fairly archetypal bard in the group. Lots of booze, lots of thievery, lots of whoring, at least initially. He had daddy issues and we all fully expected him to be a caricature bard, a cartoonishly horny alcoholic with a penchant for theft. He shockingly became a kind of pillar of the underworld community. I gave each player the option of resolving a character-specific backstory plot, and over the course of the game, we saw this bard deal with unresolved family trauma and grow into something like a fairy godmother of the underworld. He started a pub/inn as a front for an information brokerage, a place of neutral ground where other various underworld players could meet and talk without fear of violence. The rogue ended up taking in and rehabilitating all kinds of former conmen, pickpockets, and other ne'er-do-wells from all around the Sword Coast, offering them a way out of the life without having to give up who they were or leave their friends and family behind. The exchange? Just loyalty. The place became known for its good food and incredible alcoholic cider, and also for being the lost and found, so to speak, as the staff reliably knew more about the movements of the little fish and the big players in the region than anyone else, even explicitly criminal organizations and dedicated spy networks. He somehow created a fantasy version of the Continental from John Wick fully 10 years before that movie. 10 out of 10 Rogue blew the doors off all of our expectations. One of the replies said this, but I'm totally using this in my game. I love this. A place called The Lost and Found, which is actually like a tavern or something turned information brokerage. I love it. Played with a guy who made a thief, decided that his thief was a wannabe assassin who left his thieves guild because they weren't hardcore enough, decided that his character believed that the power to take someone else's life was the ultimate power. It ended up being an exploration of someone who learned the difference between hard power and soft power in the context of a criminal underworld. While he continued to be an assassin, he also started to explore options other than killing people and went through an arc of learning to be a party face, eventually replacing the party face when they died. So people just remember that the murder hobo of the party could still turn out to be a good guy. I don't know that I'd let him be the party face though, because if he ever went back to his old ways, you all have warrants. I think I was the problem player to begin with. I started playing about 2 years ago and honestly, I had no idea what I was doing, nor did I understand role-playing or anything. I would end up derailing things or interrupting the NPCs, murder hoboing, forgetting what we were doing, etc. But my DM talked to me about it and we worked together. I'm still unsure about some of the mechanics and rules and have to ask, but I try and work with the party and not go on murder sprees, etc. I genuinely have a lot of fun being my character now. I think bad players can become good, but they need help from the DM to get there, especially if they're inexperienced players. On the other hand, though, this won't be the case for everybody. Honestly, one of the first steps if you're a problem player and not being a problem player anymore is recognizing that you might be a problem player. And that doesn't mean you're a bad person or that you're bad to play with, but you gotta realize sometimes that the things you're doing aren't the things that mesh well with the table. And as I often say, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to change, it just means that isn't the table for you. Yeah, I know, I gotta get something out for 10K. Well, what do you think I'm recording for right now? What? 15,000? 16,000? What did we do? Where are all these people coming from? Guys, Twisted Pint Tavern just hit 10K subscribers, and then we blew past that and are now at 16K. I cannot believe this. 10K is such a huge milestone for me. I honestly didn't know if I'd ever even hit it, and the fact that so many of you subscribed means so much to me. We really surged up over this last weekend after I posted an AI rant short about AI in the creative and voiceover industry, and I guess you guys really like seeing me lose my cool. Noted. Anyway, I don't want to keep you for too much longer, but before we get back to the video, I will ask that you stick around at the end because I've got a bit of a surprise for y'all. I've got a new hire in the tavern. There's also this story in the comments asking what they could have done to change their experience from a horror story to having a good outcome. So let me know what you guys would have done in this situation. I recently joined a one-shot at a local game store with a group of strangers. I've played with this DM before, he's okay, but this session made me feel like I was losing my mind. I was playing a paladin, and the rest of the party was a druid, a bard, a sorcerer, and a fighter. The hook was simple. A village elder asked us to explore a cave for info on a wanted criminal. However, things went south the moment we reached the first gate. 2 kobolds were guarding the entrance. We tried talking, but they just raised their bows in silence. Our bard used friends on one, the charmed kobold opened the gate, while the other shot a warning arrow at the bard's feet. I had detect magic up and sent an illusion aura past the gate. Suspecting a trap or mind control since they weren't speaking, I approached the kobold at the lever with my hand extended, trying to be non-threatening. I tried to lift him away from the lever to safely move him while the party passed. The moment I touched him, they attacked. We rolled initiative. Most of us wanted to go non-lethal. We knocked one unconscious, but the druid killed the other. Then things escalated to a level I wasn't prepared for. The druid skinned the dead kobold and announced he wanted to wear it as a cape. The sorcerer executed the unconscious one because he was a witness. As a paladin, I wanted to stop them. As a player, I was paralyzed. We were in a public store. I didn't know these people, and we were on a tight clock before closing. I stayed silent just to keep the game moving, but the vibe was ruined for me. Past the gate, we met a dwarf who told us there was a friendly kobold village ahead. He saw the druid and warned him to hide the skin cape because the villagers would be furious. I pleaded with the druid to take it off. He refused. I tried to physically take it from him, and the player literally said, "I do not let him." We entered the village. The kobolds are immediately suspicious of the skin. We almost convinced them it's a coincidence until they mentioned their young guards at the gate. The bard then makes a joke. Well, they'll always stay young now, won't they? The DM paused. Did you actually say that out loud? The bard? Yes. Side note, if the DM asks if you actually said something aloud, usually it is a hint that you should not say it aloud. Alarms blared. We were surrounded and brought before the chief. The bard and druid tried to lie, saying the guards were already dead when we found them. They failed their deception rolls miserably. The chief announced that they would recover the bodies and use Speak with Dead to verify the truth. At this point, I'd had enough. I wasn't gonna blatantly lie for a group of murder hobos while playing a paladin. I apologized and confessed everything under a zone of truth, explaining it started as self-defense but ended with the druid's depravity. We lost over an hour of real time to this trial. It ended with a massive fine, which the druid refused to help pay. We then had to rush the entire final boss and ending because the store was closing. As we packed up, the bard and druid were laughing, talking about what a fun session it was. Meanwhile, the sorcerer accused me of making the wrong call and said I shouldn't have confessed. The fighter, who did nothing to stop them, blamed me as the paladin for not stopping them earlier. I drove home in a terrible mood, rambling to myself in the car. I feel like I was the only one trying to respect the world and the other players while they were being a bunch of sociopaths. How would you handle a situation like this? Let me know in the comments how you would have handled this situation, or if you think it's something that was worth trying to redeem in the first place. And please feel free to share your own stories of problem players turn around in the comments below.
Hey, are you talking about times a bad person turned good?
Here we go.
You should tell them about that time you were a shitty boss and see if they got any ideas for you.
Oh my god, we just had this conversation yesterday, Bounders.
Yeah. You yelled at me for taking pride in myself through artistic expression.
You wrote TPT, more like TPD's nuts, on every mug in the tavern. What was artistic about that?
I did it in cursive.
Get back to work.
Good apple.
I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe.